Hey, this is Joseph. Welcome back to Worship Guitar Basics. If you've been following along with the prior videos, I hope they've been helpful to you. It's not that much fun to start learning guitar, and especially getting your fingers into place, figuring out all the chords. It might feel awkward at first, but just keep at it and it gets much better from here on out. If you haven't already done so, take a quick minute below and subscribe. Click the like button so that you can be notified of future videos. So at this point, as you're learning how to play, you should keep learning new chords. Practice the switching between them, get your fingers into place, then take your fingers off, put them back on, so that you can kind of build up a memory for those chords. And so one of the chord types you're going to run into, if you haven't already, are called bar chords. And so bar chords like this one, which is a B minor, is basically where you take your pointer finger and you make a bar, meaning you put your finger across all the frets and press them down. They're not the most fun to play, and I pretty much never play them. I kind of compare it to like long division, where it's good to know how to do it, but 10 times out of 10 you're going to use your phone or another calculator. The reason why I don't play bar chords is just because there's so many better chord options and voicings out there. You can play them that are more open and airy and fit in much better with the band setting. So this video is for you if you want to learn how to play nice alternate voicings that are much easier to play than bar chords, very open and airy, and just in general fit in better when you're playing with others. Let's jump in. To start off, if you don't know how to read a chord chart, go back to the prior video and watch that. There'll be a link above. I'm not going to spend time in this video going through which fingers to put on which frets, because if you know how to read a chord chart, you should be able to read the chart for that. So take a quick minute, relearn that if you don't already know. So to start off, showing the B minor. So I showed you the bar chord, which is played like this. Except there's a much better way to play that. So if you play this voicing of it, you can see it's much more open sounding. The high E rings out, which is nice. So take, for example, if you were to play a progression of B minor, A, D, and G, and you were doing the regular chords, you'd go like this. And that's fine, there's nothing wrong with that. If you play with some of the alternate chords though, you can play it like this. Which sounds a lot better. It's much easier to play because instead of kind of going around like that, you're keeping your fingers relatively in the same spot. So the one thing to note, so these are like alternate chords, so the B minor, I think that's actually like a B minor 7 technically. For the A that I'm playing there is really an A suspended. For the most part you can switch that. If it calls for an A in the song, you can play that. Just do it and see what sounds good to you. That's really important too, is the context in which you're playing. For the D, I'm actually playing a D2. And then for G, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll leave off the B note. So it's really, I think it's like a G5 or G2, something like that. You can play that also. And when I'm doing that, you're muting the A string with your middle finger. So that's the progression. The B minor, I'll play this for B minor 9 times out of 10. So moving on, the next two that I wanted to go through are both F as well as F sharp minor. So F is a bar chord and you play like this. There are a couple different ways you can play the open chords for this F. Most way I'll play it is like this. And it gives kind of a nice drony sound also. It doesn't work in every single song, but most of the songs it'll work in. What you can also do from there, as if you lift your middle finger, you can play it with or without the middle finger. It changes the sound just a little bit. And the important thing about this to note too is that pay attention on the chord chart to which strings you're playing and what you're muting. So on either of these Fs, or these open Fs, you're not playing the low E. F sharp minor, so that's another bar chord played like this. The way you can open that up is by playing like this. So again, if you had a progression that's F sharp minor, D, A, E, and you were playing it the normal way, you'd play it like this. If you want to play it the more open way, you can play it like this. The last progression and a few of the last chords I want to show you are some of the alternates of E, C sharp minor, B, and A. So E, obviously, you can play it down here. And that is how I play it 90% of the time. If you have another guitar playing or you kind of just want to go up higher, you can go up to the 7th fret and play it like this. And on this, all the strings, or the E, B, and E, are all open. The cool thing about this shape is that you can move it around. So at the 7th fret, it's an E. If we go down to the 4th fret, it's a C sharp minor. And the one thing to point out about the C sharp minor is make sure you use your middle finger to lightly mute the low E string just by touching it lightly. Slide it down 2 frets to the 2nd fret, and that's a B chord. And then if we slide it down 2 other frets and get rid of our pointer finger, like this, that's that A2 that we were going through before. So you can play a progression like this. Just like that. And so that's instead of doing the bar C sharp minor, as well as the bar B. So those are some of the common alternate chords that I like to play in voicings. There's a lot more as well. I'll be putting up kind of like a chord chart on worshipguitarbasics.com, which will have all of these, as well as a bunch more of them that I tend to play. Some of them that I'll play more on electric, like for example, you can play like B minor, A, G, D, kind of like this. So ones like that I tend to play more in electric when you have overdrive and delay and stuff like that. But there's a lot more of those that can be played. And I would say most important of all, just use your discretion with the song you're playing. Some of these alternate chords, since you are getting rid of notes, and in some cases adding other notes, they don't work in every single song. They'll work in most of them. So just play around. If you're playing, for example, that A sus, and it doesn't sound very good in a song, do the other alternate, like the A2, or maybe even just the regular A. So I hope this has been helpful. Again, if you want all these chord voicings, as well as a couple others that I didn't go through today, check it out on worshipguitarbasics.com.